This video will discuss strategies for multiplying by zeros and ones. So zeros and ones can be easy. They can also be really hard. So it's hard for us to kind of think about zeros and ones, but once you understand them, they'll become some of your easiest facts. So let's use context. Let's use a story problem to help us think about ones. Jordan has one basket. In his basket, he has 3 apples. How many apples does he have? So what this is really showing is, here's Jordan's one basket. There are 3 apples in his basket. So he has a total of 3. So the problem we just modeled was one group of 3. Jordan had one basket, 3 apples. How many are there total? 3 apples. So in this next problem, draw this one out. Sarah has one box of crayons. In the box, there are 8 crayons. How many crayons does she have total? So pause this video, draw your picture, and then also draw what multiplication sentence is this. So here was my picture. I have one group box of crayons, and I have 8 crayons in my box. And since I only have one group of 8, the answer is 8. This problem is showing 1 times 8 equals 8. Here's another example. Kyle has 4 baskets. So go ahead and draw your 4 baskets. There is 1 apple in each basket. How many apples does he have in all? So our picture looks like this. There are 4 baskets. There is 1 apple in each basket. But the problem this time that I'm actually showing is 4 groups of 1. 4 times 1 is 4. So if you kind of look back at those last 3 problems, we were always multiplying by 1, whether it was the first factor or the second. So if you noticed in each of those, the product always was the same as the other factor. So when you multiply by 1, the product is always the same as the other factor. So whether we have one group of 7, as you can see in my array, or 7 groups of 1, the answer is always the other factor. I always have 7, whether I have one group of 7 or 7 groups of 1. So that's our ones. Something to think about. Since you've been in kindergarten, whenever you've added 1, it was always the next in the number sequence. So 6 plus 1 is 7. 5 plus 1 is 6. 4 plus 1 is 5. You always are going the next one in the number sequence. So when you're multiplying by ones, you have to change your thinking a bit. 6 times 1 is very different than 6 plus 1. Here I'm asking for 6 groups of 1, or I can think of it as one group of 6. But notice that the answer is always the other factor because I have one group of those. So just something to think about when you are multiplying by ones. Let's move on to zeros. Let's draw this picture out. Kate has 5 bowls. There are 0 M&Ms in each bowl. How many M&Ms does she have altogether? So here are my 5 bowls, and there are 0 M&Ms in my bowls. So how many does she have altogether? If I think about what multiplication problem this would be 5 groups of 0. I have 5 groups. There are 0 in a group. That means I have 0 of whatever unit I'm talking about. 5 times 0 is 0. Draw this one out. Costco was selling butter in packs of 2. If Logan bought 0 packs, how much butter did he have? Well, we can't draw a picture because he bought 0 packs. Even though there's 2 in a pack, he didn't buy any of them. But what problem this is modeling is 0 groups of 2. If I have 0 groups and there's 2 in a group, since I have 0 of the groups, the answer is 0. So what did you notice about anytime I multiply by 0? Did you notice it always is 0? So 0 facts can be very easy, but they can be confusing because so far when we were working with addition, whenever I added 0, the number always stayed the same. But that's why I have to be careful. When I multiply by 0, I really have to think about what is this problem asking me? 9 groups of 0. If I have 9 groups and there are 0 M&Ms in each group, how many M&Ms do I have? If you ever get stuck with zeros or ones, I would always put it back in a story problem, and that'll help you figure out the answer. So remember, when multiplying by ones, the product is the same as the other factor. When multiplying by zeros, if either factor is 0, the product will be 0.